Greg Afarian here, gregafarian.com and Virtual Media Realty, your full-service realtor in the Andover, Greater Boston, Essex County area. How you doing? Hope you're well. I'm doing my economic and market report news for the week of the 7th through the 12th. Some economic news that came out this week. Today, actually, retail sales came out, and it was a positive number for February. It was better than expected, and retail sales rose 0.3%. And pretty much that gauges how the consumer is doing as far as spending goes. And that was pretty much a surprise because it was expected that the weather that the Northeast was getting, it could be impacted slightly. However, consumer sentiment came out for March, and that gauges how the consumer feels. And it was early March, and that was down a bit to 72.5 from February's 73.6. I think we have a ways to go. I really do. I know that some economists were calling that these are good numbers for the economy and the recovery. And I don't know. I just don't know. There's a lot of question marks. The spending that the government's doing, the bailout, the other countries that are failing, like Greece, and that's one big thing. I'm not really sure. I mean, what happens when the tax credit goes away for the housing market? What happens if interest rates go up, which I'm sure that they're poised to do so? So there are a lot of question marks. This week was a benchmark. It was 10 years since the bubble bursted in 2000. And so, I don't know, CNBC, Mike Huckman, he's on Twitter and Facebook as well. What a goon he is, Mike Huckman. I hope you're listening. Blowing bubbles as the NASDAQ opened. I mean, are you kidding me, buddy? Huh? Are you unaware that hundreds of millions of Americans lost their life savings during that bubble crash? I mean, what a goon you are, I mean, imagine that. He's celebrating 10 years and he's blowing bubbles. He ought to be ashamed of himself. They ought to can that guy. What a loser he is. I mean, seriously. I just had to say that. So anyways, other things in the news that were interesting to me. Anyways, oil prices. Oil prices have been doing pretty well. They're stable, right around $81. A lot of people are calling for the 85 level and $3 at the pump. And that's one thing that really you have to keep in mind. I mean, $3 a gallon gas is never good for the consumer. So that's something to keep an eye on. It's a natural tax hike, so that's a natural tax there. Gold has been pretty good. I mean, it's down, which is actually encouraging, but it's at $1,100 an ounce. This week, Fed's going to be on testimony, so we'll see what they have to say, what Ben Bernanke has to say about the future of interest rates. I would be surprised if they do anything right now. I mean, seriously. With the way things are going, I think that he has shown that he's going to keep interest rates low. Anyone that thinks otherwise, if you think that they're going to be inflation hawks, I think that you're really misled. I don't think that that's going to happen. Interest rates did go up slightly. The 30-year national average went up to 5.01% from last week's 4.95%, and the 15-year was up slightly as well, 4.32% from 4.27%. I had mentioned last week stocks to watch, Google and RIMM. They were really, really strong performers. Google has been up, and RIMM, that I called I would say I would be buying it. It's actually been up 10% since I made that call last week. I think it hit $77 almost. So I'd keep an eye on that. I'd also keep an eye on Valero. Valero is the heavy sour crude. They take crude oil that's almost worthless and refine that into regular diesel oil, gas, and so forth. So I'd keep an eye on that, especially as oil prices go up. a stock like Valero is poised to go up because there's a larger premium in that heavy sour crude. One last thing, billionaire Carlos Slim passed Bill Gates as the richest person in the world. And it's always interesting to see that, those types of people going one and two. Carlos Slim, he made his fortune on Mexican telecom. And I would say, that is debatable because, as you and I know, health is wealth, and your family is also wealth. And I would say that I'm one of the most wealthiest persons around as well. So I love my family, and hope you are doing well. And Greg Afarian, out for now. Take care. Have a good weekend.